In this video, I'll show you how to set up repeating automation workflows in Clarityflow. So this is great if you want to send the same message or reminder or task on a regular basis, on a repeating basis. A really great use case for this would be setting up a habit tracker for your clients. So you can send them a reminder to do a daily or weekly habit on a repeating basis. All right, so I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to start by going into my library. This is where I can manage my message templates, and it's also the place where I can manage the content that would go into courses, but I could also pull in my library items into regular conversations as well. And this is where I'm going to create a message template, which will be the message that will be sent on a repeated basis. In this case, let's make it a reminder to do a weekly workout, right? So we'll do workout reminder. That'll be the name of our message template. And I can add some text. Hey, it's time for your weekly workout. Of course, I could add a video or audio. I could add file attachments. But I also want to add a task. Oops. And the task is going to be something that my client can actually check off and say that worked out. Say that they've worked out. So this will have a checkbox and they can check it off. I'm going to leave everything else to their defaults. I'm actually not going to set up a due date for this. I could say it'll be due like a day after every time I send the workout reminder. In this case, it will assign the task to the person who's in the conversation or in the course enrollment. So that's all good to leave it as is. Okay, so I'm going to create that message template. So now I have this message template called workout reminder. It has a small message here. It's got a little task. This is ready to be used in any conversation. It's also ready to be used in any automation workflow, and I could also add it to courses. So I'm going to start by just creating a simple conversation. Let's pretend that I'm in this conversation with a client. So currently it's just me, but let's say I was in this conversation with another client, and this is like our ongoing coaching engagement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into settings on the conversation, and I'm going to go to workflows, and I want to create a conversation workflow. So this is a workflow on the conversation level, not a workflow on individual messages. So I'm going to create that conversation workflow, and we want to start this workflow or trigger this workflow when this conversation was created. In this case, it was created, just a minute ago. So I'm going to set that up to start, now that we have this new conversation. If I go to frequency, by default, an automation workflow will only run once. So if I were to just leave this as is, it would just run this automation the single time. But this is a habit tracker that I want to run on a repeated basis. So I'm going to select repeat on a schedule after the first run. So the repeat frequency defaults to repeating every week. If I wanted this to be like a daily reminder, I can set it to every day, or I could even make it like a monthly or a quarterly or yearly. We're going to set it to every week. And by default, this will repeat indefinitely forever until I turn off this workflow. And that might be fine. But let's say I'm in a client engagement that's only set up to last for a single month, and there should only be actually 4 repetitions on this, 4 weekly reminders. So then I can set end type to repeat after X repetitions, and I will set it to 4. So I'm going to create that workflow. Now, so far, I've only done the first part, which is I've set up the trigger and the repeating logic, but I haven't actually added the step to send the reminders. Now I need to do that. So I'm going to add the first step. It'll be like the first and only step. And that step type is going to be to send a message or thread into this conversation. I could set up to send an email notification, but I actually want to send the message into this actual conversation in Clarityflow. And that in itself will also send a notification to my client or whoever else is in this conversation that, hey, there's a new message every week. All right, so I'm going to set that. And then the message type, I want to select use a message template. And the message template from my library is the one that I had just created called Workout Reminder. I selected that. Myself will be the author. I'll leave these to their defaults, and I will create that step. Okay, so every week on a repeated basis, only 4 times, it's going to post this message to this conversation. And I'm going to activate this workflow now. So in order for a workflow to run, you need to see this green active button. Remember that anytime you edit a workflow, it's going to go back into a paused state. So when you're done making changes, you're always going to need to go back to activate the workflow. Okay, so we're actually not going to see the very first run of this until a week from now, because it's set to recur on a weekly basis, starting from a few minutes ago when I had initially created this conversation. So that's all set for this one conversation with this client. But now I want to show you one more demonstration where we apply this to a course, because that's how you can set it up so that many clients can enroll in your, let's call it like a workout bootcamp course. And we can set it up so that the very first day they'll get their first reminder, and then it'll repeat on a weekly basis. Let's go ahead and set that up now. So I'm going to go back into my courses area, and I'm going to create a new course, and we'll call this Workout Bootcamp. Okay, so now I have a course, but it has no content in it. It also has no automation set up on it. So the first thing that I want to do is add the very first piece of content, and that's the first piece of content that will be visible in the course on day 1 when a new client enrolls in my course. And for that, I actually want to do the workout reminder so that on day 1, they get their very first workout reminder, right? So I'm going to add that to the course. So we see my message template, and it has the content that's built into it. It has a task that the client will need to check off. So when a client enrolls in this course, they're going to see this first message showing up immediately. But we want to have this repeat on a weekly basis. Instead of adding it again and again and again to this course, we can use the automation to set up that same repeating workflow. So here let me back out for a second. I'm setting the automation workflow on the course level up here. So I'm going to do that, create a workflow. And when a conversation is created, which means an enrollment in this course is created, because every enrollment in the course creates a new conversation. Conversations and course enrollments are essentially the same thing. You could also think of courses like templates that generate new conversations with each individual client. Okay, so I'm going to create this workflow, which will trigger every time a new conversation is created from this course. And we're going to set up the same settings as we did before. We're going to go to frequency. We're going to repeat on a schedule after the first run. We want this to repeat every week. And again, if your course is only set to last a certain amount of time, let's actually set this one to 8. Let's say it's like an 8-week course. We can set it to that. Again, you could go with never, and that means it'll just repeat indefinitely. And also, by the way, I'm not going to get into it in this video, but if you were to set up Clarityflow Commerce to sell subscriptions, which subscribe someone to a course, you can set it up that way and then have it end only when their subscription has ended. So, so they might pay for 6 or 8 months, and then you can have the course close itself after a subscription has wrapped up. So that's, you can check out our commerce videos on that kind of tutorial. But for now, we're going to do after X repetitions after 8 weeks. We'll create that workflow. And once again, we need to add the first and only step. It's going to be send a message or thread into this template, into this course, I mean. We're going to use a message template, and we're going to use that workout reminder, and that is good to go. Okay, so now Our course has this workflow here. So that is all set. Now let's go ahead and do an example enrollment with the very first client. So I'm just going to enroll a client from over here. Again, you could sell enrollments in this course using Clarityflow Commerce, but I'm just going to do it here. And you can, you can invite a client here, or you can use a multi-use invitation link. That's another way to, share a single link with many people and enroll them in a course. Again, we cover that in other videos, but let's just do, we'll enroll our test user over here. I'm going to send them an email, or I can just give them a link individually, and that will take me into this instance of the course. This is the enrollment in the course, the workout bootcamp for test user. Again, this is a conversation between me and my client test user. This is his individual course enrollment. And as you can see, it comes with the very first workout reminder, and it's assigned to him, and he just needs to check it off to say, I have done that workout. Awesome. Now, if I go into the settings and I go into workflows, I can see that this conversation already has this, this automation workflow, and it's currently active. And I can inspect it, and I can see that this workflow on this conversation is going to repeat 8 times. It is currently active, so that's good to go. So now a week from now, this same message is going to post to this conversation, and it's just going to continue until 8 times have happened. And then after that, no more repetitions. So that is repeating automation workflows in Clarityflow. Thanks for watching.